Let's see. Let me double check my audio. I haven't done a live stream in so long. I actually don't know if anyone's gonna show up because this is like YouTube tells me this is the worst hour to live stream, but something very random. So if anyone is out there and you can hear me, oh, you can hear me. Oh, awesome. Flaming burrito. I can always count on you. So I don't know really what to talk about, but I've been working on some nice little Pyro simulations, rendering. The cloud in Karma is amazing. These clouds look amazing, and they're very easy to create. You don't need a simulation, so that makes it a lot easier. Nuasora, hello. Yes, it is very, very fun. The clouds are the best, the most fun. Just because you don't, it's so easy. The clouds only require the cloud material, the Karma cloud material only drives off of the density. So that makes it extremely easy to create. Since you only need a volume, you don't even need to simulate it. Which is binding off of just the density. See, it doesn't even have scatter, it doesn't have fire, it's just density. So this material, inside a Solaris, inside the material library, you can find the Karma cloud material. That's this one. And it requires very little tweaking of the parameters to get a cloud look. Let me take this out. Okay. I did notice that you do require a bit of noise to make it like the shape. Because if I take out the noise, this would just look like a white piece of transparent, translucent material. It wouldn't look like cloud. Like these little holes, the holes embedded inside, really helps sell it. And I can show you by removing it. Here, let me remove this noise. Oh, let me actually take a picture so we can have a before and after. Just let it render just a bit. Oop. Film roll. Okay, I'm just gonna let it render just a bit more. Okay, I should stop touching it. Okay, I'm just gonna let it render. It's going, and then I'm gonna take a before and after, and then I'm gonna remove the inside noise just to show you how much that actually sells the cloud look. Do 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 do. Oh, and that and the lighting. The lighting helps a lot too. So this is using a high contrast light downloaded from HDR Haven, which is your open source free HDR high quality light maps. The one I'm using here is the clear foggy sky view. Oh, perfect. Let's do a snapshot. Did you use any noise on the actual volume or just on the oh, the shader has no noise. So this is pure stop. Volume stop, I guess. So the noise comes from here. This is the original banana peel. Oh, this one is. It's a little bloated, this banana peel, because it was a little thin at the beginning, and I had to jack up the voxel resolution too much. It was taking too long to compute, so I decided to increase the subdivisions so I would have more topology and easier to create the volume. Then a little bit of surface noise helps sell the shape of the cloud, but what really helps sell it is the inside noise. So here I'm gonna convert, let me get rid of that, convert this into a VDB. And you can see it's really thin. You can barely... Let me make the background dark. Yeah, and get rid of the grid. Okay, you can barely see it. It's really thin. So in the volume vault, and that's where you were asking about the noise, this is where the actual noise, most of the noise is driven. And I have a multiplier to increase the density. Okay, so this is something super simple. I have a bit of cloud noise, a flow, curl, but this cloud noise doesn't really do much. It's most of it is these guys. But let me show you what this does first, and then I'll isolate these noise one at a time to show you the exact effect of the noise. So let's remove this noise, and then I'll enable this one. So this one doesn't have any noise. All it's doing is multiplying the density. Okay, that doesn't show you anything. So this is just multiplying the parameter. This is promoting the second value that I'm multiplying to the density, which is coming from this 100. So I'm going to connect this here. So this doesn't have any internal noise. It's only the surface noise. And let's see how this compares in Solaris. Let's give it a second. Let's see. And then we can open this up side by side. Actually, I can see it. So this one really shows. So this one you can see that it really sells it with these little pocket holes. This one is not too bad. But this one really sells it. I really love this fluffiness, this fluffy look. Now it's starting to show a lot of artifacts. So if you are rendering clouds, it is a good idea to increase... Oh, let me take a snapshot of this first. Okay. So if you are rendering clouds, it's a good idea to jack up your volume limits. This really helps a lot in rendering, especially for clouds. For Pyro, actually. What else? Oh, right. Let's go back to SOPs and let me isolate the noise one at a time. So let's just remove this guy. So let's just remove the cloud noise. So you can see most of the pocket holes are still there. So most of the noise is driven by these guys. Oh, you know what? Let me go to here. And let me preview this. And then I can go back to SOPs. And then we can actually see it in SOPs. See the Karma render in SOPs. That is very convenient. But you need to be careful. This crashes your computer a lot. That's what happened to me. So tread carefully. There we go. So this is a Karma render, and we're in SOPs. It's very handy having popping this up. But it's very CPU intensive because modifying anything in SOPs has like a chain reaction, that ripple effect all the way down to Solaris, and if you go crazy, Houdini will just crash. So you can see it still looks really nice. So that cloud noise doesn't have much effect. Well, it does. It not as much as the other two, that the anti-alias noise and the curl noise really contributes a lot. Yeah. Okay. You have to be slow with this. Okay, let me remove the curl. I think I added the curl just so I could get some flaring, a little bit of like edge tear. Yeah, I don't know if you can make it out. So the edges now are more smoother. They're more sharper. I don't know if you guys can see that. Let me see if I can zoom in. Okay, so this is more sharper because I disabled the curl noise. The curl noise is nice to sort of tear it up on the edges, which is the effect I like on clouds. So we connect this back. Okay, let it render just... oh, let me see if I can take a snapshot. Oh, I can. Okay. Let's let it render just a bit more. Get up to 50% at least. Doot, 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 doot. What kind of noise is the cloud noise? I have no idea. I think it just... I'm guessing it uses a cloud texture behind the scenes. I would assume from the name, but that's just a complete guess. Okay, let me take a snapshot. Yeah, let's connect the curl noise back to, like, contribute to the volume noise and let it render just a bit. So you can see it flares up just a bit on the edges. It just breaks it up just a bit. It probably can break it up more if I turn it up. Let's view this side by side. So you can see this is more sharper, the edges. This is a bit of breakup. Let's see, we're in 18%. Okay, let me try and... Oh, by opening this, it jumped all the way there. Okay, let me go back. Let's see. Here, let's try and take the curl noise and pump it up to see if we can really tear out the edges, because that would make it look more cloud-like. Hopefully. 6. So I just doubled the amplitude of the curl noise. Nah. Oh, I should have took a snapshot before amping it up. Oh well. It doesn't. It's not. It's very subtle, gentle. So I can see there's a little bit more here. It's very, very subtle. Okay, I'm just gonna wait until it renders a bit more and then take a snapshot and then keep pumping it up. Doot, 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 doot. Okay, I think 40 would be enough, I think. Okay. Alright. Now let's start turning it up. Let's turn up the roughness to make it more noisy. Now you gotta be gentle with this. Once you have this opened, because this is a karma window opened, and I'm in SOPs. You gotta be gentle a bit, otherwise Houdini might cry. Okay, we're starting to see something interesting. The middle here, we see a lot more noise, more pocket holes. So at least the volume is... The transparency of the volume has more variation. Whether that's interesting or not, that we'll have to see. I'll have to zoom out. But before I do that, because once I zoom out, it'll start... Karma's gonna start chugging again. So I'm just gonna keep pumping this up to see if I can get this edge to really break up. 9. So I'm going every 3. Let's see. Turbulence, attenuation, distance to surface. Might need this. Determines the magnitude of the effect of the Oh, we might need this. Surface effect radius. This sounds promising. Okay, I'm gonna just jack this up. I'm not gonna wait for the render. Okay. Oh, there it goes. Okay. So you can see that I don't really know exactly every single little parameter and every single detail of it. A lot of the times, even if you know everything there is to every single parameter and what they do, you still have to do a trial and error to find that really sweet look. So a lot of the times you don't have to be overwhelmed with all these parameters. Just try changing something. Even if you know every single little detail, it won't look exactly the way it's written in the documentation, just because the docs are just explaining how they implemented it. But when you throw it into a volume and throw it into real life and throw it into Karma, it'll give you something totally different. Sometimes you might even find something like a hidden gem, like let's see. I want to try and zoom out. I can't get that edge to flare up any further. Although I think it's because I'm adding all the noise together. I could try subtracting the curl noise. That might make something even more interesting. So we can try that afterwards. Just want to zoom out and take another snapshot. So it's nice that we have all these pocket holes, but the curl noise has added so much thickness to my banana cloud. It looks like snow now. Which is another fun thing about this material, this Karma cloud material shader. All you have to do is turn up the volume step rate. And I'll show you where that is, because that's in Solaris. I have to jump back in. I'm just going to wait until this renders. And it instantly will look more like snow. So that's super handy. Unfortunately, it makes the render extremely slow. So like, this has taken, so we're on 58, so about a minute for this render. It's going to be like 3 to 4 minutes per frame for a snow render if you jack up the volume step rate, which I'll show you where that parameter is in just a second. Just gonna take a snapshot. I gotta start labeling these, otherwise I won't know what this is. So this is curl noise turned up. Snow banana, yes. I'm planning on, well, I'm actually learning how to like composite these cloud shots or composite renders into real life footage. So that's something I'm still in the works. So in here, so this is in Solaris. In order to turn the cloud material into snow, in here, the Karma render settings node, rendering, sampling, and here it is, the volume step rate. Turn this all the way to 1, it'll look like snow. But it makes it really, really slow to render. I find that there are ways around this without turning it up, because once this turns it up, it's just too slow. Like right now it looks more like snow. So all we did was play around with the noise and just kept unpacking it. The curl noise, I find like we can see right here that it has these little pockets of snow. Let me see. Let me zoom in. Sorry, these air pockets, and it makes it sort of look like snow, so we can sort of get really close at a fraction of turning this up. I'm scared of turning this up. It might just crash. But if you really, really, really want snow, just turn this up. Are you using compositing it with real life footage? Oh, DaVinci Resolve, because the color grading is just too awesome and it's free. I tried learning Nuke. It's too hard. And also note that how much I had to turn up the samples to really bring out the cloud. So Pyro is very sample intensive. And note that the samples for the volume limit is turned up to 32 as well. So everything is turned up pretty high for volumes. Everything but this thing. This thing is default by 0.25. It's as high as I want it. And I'm gonna take another screenshot for no reason at all. Just because these renders are taking so slow. Oh, let's go back to SOPs and let's try subtracting the curl noise. What? Here. I have to be slow. Oh, I could just turn off the render. That's silly. Okay, and subtract it to the curl noise. So I'm taking... Okay, just let me finish this. And I'll show you what I'm doing. Okay, so I'm taking all these noise. And then they're added up. This is an add. Let me take this over. So all these noise are added up here. This is the original volume density. I'm sampling it, and then I'm adding all this noise, and then I'm subtracting this curl noise using this subtract node, and then I'm multiplying by 100 because the original density is too low. And let's take a look what it looks like. Let's start the render. I think we're just getting more pocket holes. That wasn't too exciting. I think I had like 3 at the beginning, and then this was like 7. Yeah, it doesn't seem like it's anything too exciting. Good night from Northern EU. Just to say hello. Thanks for all your tutorials. Oh, thanks for joining. Thanks for popping up. Hackin' Adam. I hope I got your name right. Yeah, then let's see. Let's see, what else can we do? So that's clouds. Let me see. Let me think. What else do I have here? Oh, the fireball. So this was okay. I can do the fireball. Okay, yeah, this is cached out, so this is perfect. It's still slow. Even with the cache. Let's go just the cache. Yeah, it's still slow. It's just a sphere that is animated in a circle. So the motion is just a circle motion because I needed something to move. And I wanted to try and do some sort of fireball thing. Although the motion is weird. Let me see. Okay, let's see. Oh, okay. So the tail is a little lifted up just because smoke is buoyant. So smoke is rising. I could modify it by turning off the buoyancy, but then I have to resim again. Okay, let's not do that. It takes a while to resim because I'm on so this is not being used. Let's see how small is this? This is 0.01. It's actually not that small, but I prefer not to resim it. It takes a while. Let's see. Okay, I'm just going to show you the animation of the geometry. So it's just a ball going in. Oh, how is this slow as well? Oh my god. Come on, something has to be fast. Somewhere. Scatter, okay, points, mountain. Well, this is, okay, so this is the original sphere. It's just a mountain noise just to give it a bit more, because at the first render I did of the simulation, it didn't have the mountain noise. So the surface had a really uniform scatter and uniform fire look to it. And this sort of changing surface contributed, let me go back, helped to contribute a bit of noise. So here it's all washed out because I turned up the saturation to make it look more shiny. Let me see if I can find a... Oh, this one. Okay, so this one does not have color grading. You can see there's a bit of noise, scatter noise. Well, okay, you can see the yellow and the orange. The bright yellow is the scatter, and then the orange is more like the mask. So there's a scatter mask. And I found that adding a bit more randomness to the surface helped create more of this contrast look. This I needed more noise on the scatter mask to make it look a bit more interesting. Otherwise, the front part would just be a big yellow bright ball. So here, and then... Okay, this is where I animate it. So this is where the animation comes in. You can see that I have my favorite sine waves and cosine waves. All this does, it just goes in a circle. So it just goes round and round. Let me see if I can play it. How is this slow? I don't understand. Why is everything so slow? I guess I have a lot of points, but still. So all it does is goes round and round and round. Point, and I need to record that velocity by just adding this point velocity, because it doesn't have velocity by itself. It's not simulated yet. When do you do Pyro like this? Do you start with the shelf tools or build the whole network from scratch? Oh, that's a good question. That's a great question, actually. The new Pyro in Houdini, new-ish, it was, I think they released it in 19 or something, has the Pyro SOP nodes. So this is different in that the Pyro solver is now available on the SOP level. So this was not, like back in my day, this never existed. We always had to do a .NET, and then we had to put our solver inside the .NET. This is pretty new. This is pretty awesome. Just that everything's flat, dropped on the SOP level. So what they have also added is that if you type in Pyro config, these are all templates ready to go. Like they're simulations that are set up and ready to go. So let's do, this one looks really good, the aerial explosion. So let's do this. It might take a while to load. You can see it's cooking. It's going to create the entire simulation network. So this is actually ready to go. So let me go back and just play it. Okay, I need to zoom out. Okay, let me stop it for a second and I'll zoom out. Oh, it's best if okay, let's create a flip book. It's probably better. Oh, I don't need to save this. Let's just do this. Okay. Okay, that's way too small. Sorry. Let me make it a little bigger. Stop. And now let it go on for a few frames. This one's really cool. So you have to note that all I did was just drop down one menu. Like, it's not one button press, but it is pretty close. So these are templates that SideFX created when they released the Pyro SOP nodes as well to demo the use cases. They added a lot of different new tools to help you create the emitter. And I'll show you that in a second. You can see my video card starting to... Yeah, I'm gonna have to stop this soon. But this is a really cool effect, so let me play it back. Okay, just a few more frames. It looks so awesome. Okay, I think that's enough. Okay, I'll have to stop the simulation here as well. But I still have the flip book. Let's see. Okay, here it is. This is really cool. So this is from Pyro config. And that's just the aerial explosion. So that's super simple because everything's already done for us. The magic is where here. Okay, what happened to my flip book? Where there? Oh, I don't know how to make this stay on top. Oh well. So the magic happens in this Pyro burst and Pyro trail. They're actually two different emission setups, so that you can see that it's branched off. The Pyro trail is these little streams that come up. So if we remove it, this is what it looks together. So this is the emission. This is what is being fed into the Pyro solver, so it knows what to do. Now, if I just look at the burst, so this is the actual explosion. This is what kickstarts. You can see that you don't need all the frames. You only need that explosion part, which is the most important, which this is what defines pretty much the entire Pyro simulation, the initial emission. Then we got the streams. So they're separate. But what is awesome about this is that SideFX included these source nodes to let us design our own Pyro emission. Whatever explosion you want, so Pyro, burst, source, whatever bursting you want. The one that is shown here is like the explosion effect. But there are so many other ones. Okay, I'm just gonna move this over. So there's the explosion. So we can do this burst type muzzle flash. Now, it doesn't look like much right now, but once you feed this into a pyro simulation, it looks really nice because these are fine-tuned. Shock rings. This one I never really got because I would have liked the shock rings too. This is on the floor, so if you had a ground to collide with the pyro simulation, it would force a lot of the smoke to come up. So it's sort of like that mushroom explosion effect, and you see rings on the ground. Blast rings. So actually, what's even more awesome is that there's shortcuts for this as well to create the entire network. So let's do that. Let's come here. There's like this quick setup. So we have the source. Let's add. So we can just add the pyro simulation. And it'll just add it for us. Now this one's not fine-tuned. But this is, I mean, that's 2 clicks. It's not too bad. I mean, you'll have to fine-tune it a bit and say, because this is 0.2, I'm going to go 0.05 to really see anything. Okay, you can see it's really slowing down. But, I mean, all I see is this bright, big ball thingy, which is not very interesting. So you have to add in a pyro. Actually, I think if you come here and go quick setups, you can initialize the bake. What you need is the pyro bake volume, and that will create the scatter mask, and that's like the black outlines of the smoke on like the really it'll highlight the details of the shape of the volume, and that's what you really need. Let me see. Explosion. I thought create pyro look. I think it's this one. Yeah. So this creates the pyro bake volume, which you can also add by hand if you're like me. Pyro bake volume. That's this guy, and this is what creates that scatter mask. Is this the sparse pyro sulfur? I don't think so. Let's see. I don't know what it created because I didn't create it myself. Oh, it is. So simulation type sparse. Because I used that shortcut, that quick shortcut, a quick setup. So I don't know what it created. This is the sparse one, but I don't think it. Let's see if it turned on OpenGL, because OpenGL uses pure GPU. No, it did not turn it on. So this is using my CPU to simulate it. Maybe that's why it's so slow. Let's turn it on. Oh, it won't let me. Let's do minimum CL. Okay, yeah. So you can just switch this over to minimum CL. Should be a lot faster now. Let's just pray it doesn't crash. Because I jacked up the resolution to 0.05. Oh, it's hitting the ceiling. Okay. 1 second. So it's hitting the bounds. We don't need the bottom bounds. Let's go up a bit. Make it wider. Okay, now we can go up a bit. Do you usually use sparse when working with Pyro? Sometimes. I find that it crashes a lot because I really like that detail look. I tend to jack this voxel resolution. I tend to make this number really small. And by making the voxel size small, you're increasing the resolution of your volume because it's how you have a finite bound for your volume. By saying voxel size, smaller voxel size, you fit more voxels in here. So it's sort of like saying, how big is my little pixel squares? If I have smaller pixels, then I have more pixels because you'll need to fill up the screen. I hope that makes sense. Do you usually... so I usually don't use OpenGL or sparse. I usually use dense because I really like that dense look. But ooh, look at all that detail. I really like this. Come on, what happened? Oh, I have to, it's not caching. Okay, let's cache some of this. Pyro demo. Now, I have a ton of hard drives just because I buy the cheaper ones and I use that for storage, but the M.2 ones, the SSDs, solid state ones, they're so much faster. And those are the ones I use to simulate. So I have to sort of juggle around with this when I'm working with the simulations, which is not too bad because you save quite a bit of money. So I'll just cache a few frames. Should be fast. 30. Okay, I'll just go up to 50. Well, that was pretty fast. Okay, maybe I'll go up to 96 since it's so fast. 80, 84. Okay. Stop there. I really like this. These little flares. So without this guy, you only see that. Like you don't really see it here though. Not as, okay, let's see. Scatter. Let's turn on the scatter. Okay. Now, without it, with it. Without it, with it. So it's masking. It's really hard to tell in here. You'll need karma. Pyro demo. Okay. So I'm just gonna do this quick in demo of how to set this up. And then I'm gonna end the stream because this was not planned. It was just spontaneous. Here, and I'll call it Pyro. Then drop down to material library. Come in here, karma, pyro, smoke, I guess explosion. So what the difference between these, actually I should explain. The difference between these materials is just a preset that sidefx had already done. So this is just blank defaults, and this is the materials are already tailored, color tailored, density tailored, like the parameter values are already preset to something that looks like what name implies. I'm gonna make this. Now I'm a weirdo, so I like to do this by hand, but really you don't have to. Really like this, and I like to type it in by hand. Oh, after you add that material in, remember to click this button. Otherwise it won't see it. Solaris won't see it. Let's see. So what you can do is you come here. Come on, give me that. Okay. Drag the material and drag it into your Pyro. And it'll auto assign it. You don't have to type it out. But sometimes I like to be a weirdo and type it out. Dome light. Let's just do my favorite. You can see my hard drives the storage drives are so slow. The Brown Photo Studio. I've been using this one for years. And what I like to do is add in a parameter because I like the slider. Copy, and I just want to rotate it on the Y. So that's just convenient. So you can see that, ooh, the light really affects it. Let's go down. Karma. Render setting. Okay, there it is. Well, one thing, it's a little dark. That's for sure. Let's set this to XPU. And, well, this is 720p. So it's not high resolution. But let's go back. Let's keep this up first. Now, I'm not going to turn up the samples yet. So just so you know that this is volume limit 0. So we don't see much of anything. This is like, it's a crappy look right now. Because it's very low samples. There's no volume samples, in fact. But let's go in here and fix this up first. Now we have scatter. Now I'm going to turn off the scatter just to show you what the scatter is doing. So without the scatter, there's no light. So scatter is really the light. But I did say that it brings out the highlights of the shape. It highlights the shape of the volume. So what I mean by that is the mask. So I'm going to turn off the mask. Once there's no mask, all you see is the light emitting from the Pyro simulation with which is driven by the density, really. And you can know that by looking at the bindings. So scatter is driven by the density. It's actually, sorry, the scatter is driven by the scatter, but the mask is driven by the density. I had the other way around. Now let's turn the mask on. So the mask is masking out the light. Scatter is really the light. It's the explosion light. This is not what it seems. This is on a ramp that this is on a meter scale that we actually can't see. By turning up the mask width, you tell it sort of, the way I see it is that you turning up the mask width is enlarging the range of this meter. The mask center is wherever the pivot point, or the center point that you want to pivot to say, I'm assuming the right side of the center, like the larger mask is the darkness. It's the mask, and the left side of the center would be allowing light through. I'm assuming, because we don't really know. All I know is that you need a combination of the two. So what I usually do is just jack this up so we have a larger range. Now the center, depending where the center is, we can adjust. If the center is too high, then there's nothing left. All we see is light. So that's what I meant by saying this number being too high, the left side allows more light through. I don't know if that makes sense. And this is more darkness. This is more masking. Okay, I'm just trying to get a balance. Now, how do you change this? Okay, the scatter mask is only controlling the ratio of the masking. It doesn't really control the actual smoke, because the smoke is still in here. We still control the smoke in the smoke tab. So I want more, like a thicker, because this is really thin. It's not, well, it's okay, I guess. But you can control the thickness by increasing the density. So there's a lot of it now. So this is way better. It's a little thicker. And okay, so I don't know, let's do 3. Say we have the smoke color set to gray. So this defines the smoke, the color of the smoke. Say I want something ridiculous like green. The light is still in there. So this is not the light. This is the actual smoke color. It's just taking over everything because it's so strong. I can make it dark green. So that would, okay. And then you can still see the light there. I really do like this brightness though. Now, to get, to overcome this bright green, we can actually turn up the light. The light is what driven by the scatter. So we can turn up the hot end. This will really make it brighter. Now it still looks bad right now. It's just because I haven't turned up the samples. Bear with me. The intensity. So this is more, I think this is more bright, and intensity is more thick. In the end, turning both of these parameters up makes it way brighter. So say I wanted something really, really bright, like fire. But I want to see more of the green. So that then you come over to this masking and you adjust this guy. Oh, all right, go down. Okay, it's getting a little hard to adjust this, so I'm gonna lower the width now. So by lowering the width, we're getting more of the masking. And the masking means more smoke. More smoke, well, we changed the color from gray to green. And what I don't like is that this sharp fall off. So maybe I'll turn up the center again. Maybe. You gotta play around with this. Okay. And what is the fire? The fire is actually very similar to the scatter. It's pretty much the same thing, but I think it's being driven by different different parameters from the volume. If you turn it up, it just adds another layer of light to it. Now, there's also a fire mask, which does the exact same thing again. It's masking the light. Yep. Now, the fire is... one good thing is that you can control the fire color right here. As for the scatter color, it's... let's see. If I remember correctly, to change the... Let's disable the fire. To change the scatter color, you have to go back to SOPs. And go to this Pyro bake volume. I think it's this guy. Okay, what color have we not used? Let's do blue. Yeah, so the light is now blue. So that's changes the scatter color directly. Which is weird. I don't know why this parameter is here in the SOPs and not in the material, like in the Pyro shader material here. But that's how it is. Okay, I didn't really have anything planned for this. It was just random yapping. I hope you like this. I'm just testing out different stream times to see where everyone is in the world. And if you guys like this, just let me know. Me doing random yapping. So I will see you on the next one, which will be another random stream at a random time of the day.